Live from WRAL News headquarters in Raleigh, your number one source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
Another round of Arctic air temperatures will plummet through the day. Today, I'll show you how low the temperature drops coming up.
Hundreds of jobs and $1 billion in investments are headed to Wake County. How today's announcement cements the Triangle as a major contender for big companies.
Plus, a new poll gives us a new look at how the majority of North Carolina voters feel about President-elect Donald Trump's immigration plans.
If you've been outdoors today, no need to tell you it is a blustery day out there today. Good afternoon. I'm Renee Chu.
And I'm Chris Loving, in for Jeff Hogan. It is the day to have a coat. Yesterday was cold, but today's cold as well. We've got meteorologist Amy Wilmoth in the WRAL Severe Weather Center to show us where that Arctic cold front is right now.
The cold front has already made its way through the area. Just full disclosure here, having a little bit of clicker issues. So I'm going to step off the screen, but we've been talking about this Arctic front that was going to make its way through the area today, and it's actually now along the North Carolina coast. So it has moved through, but our wind shift has not happened yet. Once the wind shifts to the north and west, that's when our temperature will drop, and it's taking some time to do so. So temperatures are actually very mild right now. 59 in Raleigh, 59 in Durham, 61 right now in Fayetteville, but temperatures will start to drop within the next couple of hours. We're still about 10 to 17 degrees warmer right now compared to this time yesterday. This is a live look at downtown Raleigh. The winds really whipping those flags around in downtown Raleigh. We've had some very strong wind gusts, sustained winds right now, anywhere from about 13 miles per hour to 18 miles per hour. Winds are westerly across the area. Again, as we see those winds shift to the north and west, that's when we'll see those temperatures begin to drop. Look at the wind gusts right now, 31 mile per hour wind gusts in Raleigh, 32 in Rocky Mount, 25 in Fayetteville. I did see one wind gust at RDU at 38 miles per hour. That was in between hours, but we've had some very strong winds. This is the maximum gusts, the hourly gusts, 36 miles per hour in Fayetteville. It will stay blustery through the day today, but watch how these temperatures drop. I know it's mild right now, but that's not going to last. We'll be in the 40s by 3 p.m., 30s by 6 p.m., and then overnight tonight down into the teens and 20s, 21 in Raleigh. Coming up, we're going to take a look at how low the wind chill will be when you step outside tomorrow morning.
All right. Thank you, Amy. We're learning more about hundreds of high-paying jobs coming to Wake County. Just hours ago, biotech company Amgen announced a $1 billion expansion in Wake County. Let's bring in WRAL's Brett Neese. He is live in Holly Springs today. Brett, the company's first plant there hasn't even got up and running, and now a second one was announced.
Yeah, they broke ground in 2022 for the first plant. That's down this drive here. And this entire area over here, it's a lot of woods right now, but this is called Camp Helix. And this is just one portion of what the town of Holly Springs is hoping to do. This announcement today shows you how Amgen is really committing to Holly Springs, to Wake County, and to growing here. This is an announcement, and this is an investment in this area that could provide a $3.5 billion economic growth to North Carolina's economy as a whole. With it is about 370 jobs that Amgen will hire at that new plant, and this will allow them to increase their manufacturing capacity. Those jobs will be added between 2028 and 2032, and the average starting pay for all of these jobs, $91,000. Good paying jobs. The company develops medicine to treat cancer, heart disease, among other things. Amgen broke ground again on that first plant more than 2 years ago. Holly Springs in particular is attractive for biotech companies because of how close it is to the Triangle and the talent that comes from this area.
The other part that hadn't been talked too much about is residual businesses that, support and fund all of our biotech industries. They've got to have some place to come. So we still have over 400 acres that we're looking to have filled up with these biotech and supporting companies.
So Amgen also created an apprenticeship program with Wake Tech. Those hires from that program will start early next year. Live in Holly Springs, Brett Neese, WRAL News.
Happening now in the WRAL Live Center, still no sign of the suspected shooter who shot and killed UNC Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. Now, just in the last hour, NYPD releasing these new images of the suspected shooter taken when that person stayed at a hostel. These new photos clearly show the suspect's face. And of course, in those initial photos and surveillance video, the suspect is wearing a mask. These new photos could help investigators identify the suspect. Now, police say the shooting of Brian Thompson was a targeted attack. Police say the suspect was waiting for Thompson. Surveillance video captured the moment the mass shooter approached Thompson from behind and shot him with a handgun at least twice. Now, NBC News learning the words defend, deny, and depose were written on shell casings found at that scene. Of course, this noon hour, the search for that suspect continues. Police say after the shooting, the masked gunman escaped on an e-bike through an alleyway and rode towards Central Park. And there you see that scene that happened yesterday. Now, investigators believe that suspected shooter may have taken the subway from the Upper West Side to Midtown. If there's any new information during this 1 hour of news, we'll bring it to you here in the WRAL Live Center.
2 kindergarten students are in extremely critical condition, and a suspect is dead after shooting at a school in Northern California. Police say the shooter wounded 2 kindergarten students before turning the gun on himself. NBC's Liz Kreutz shares one theory investigators are considering.
This morning, new questions about why a man with a gun opened fire at this elementary school in rural Northern California.
Shots fired, 27 Cox Lane between Highway 70 and Simpson Road.
Police say the first 911 calls came in Wednesday afternoon. 2 kindergarten students, 5- and 6-year-old boys, were shot and transported to hospitals, one airlifted.
I can tell you that the injuries are very, very serious, and these children are in extremely critical condition.
Police say they found the suspected shooter with a handgun, dead from an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound. The terrifying incident happening at Feather River Adventist, a K-8 private religious school with about 36 students. Police say the gunman was dropped off by an Uber and met with the school's principal to discuss enrolling a student.
We're trying to determine whether or not he actually was there to enroll or talk about enrolling a student, or if that was instead a ruse to get onto the campus.
Soon after, police say school administrators heard screams. This 6th grader says she heard the gunshots.
We were running to the gym. I looked back and I saw a shadow with a gun, so I told most people to run even faster.
The school put on lockdown. Students rushed to a nearby church.
My wife actually got the phone call, and it was heartache. Are you going to see your child?
And now authorities are investigating reports the suspect may have targeted the school because of its affiliation with the Seventh-day Adventist Church. The FBI assisting with the investigation.
When you're talking about little kids like this who can't defend themselves, it really does tear at the heart.
Back here locally, we're working to learn the cause of a deadly crash that killed a driver in Johnston County. That driver crashed in the eastbound lanes of I-40 near Woodall Dairy Road. State Highway Patrol saying that the truck rolled over and hit a guardrail around 5 this morning. The WRAL Breaking News Tracker was able to get these photos of the scene shortly before the truck was towed away, but the driver's name has not been released. Police are tracking down a person they say fired a gun into a car in Durham, and a bullet grazed a person in that car. This happened Tuesday night on South Mineral Springs Road near NC 98. Durham County deputies say this is a suspected case of road rage. The driver says that they honked their horn at someone who was driving slowly, and the other driver shot at them for that. A passenger in their car again was grazed by a bullet but did not need to go to the hospital. And at last check, no one's in custody for this.
A new poll out today finds a majority of North Carolina voters agree with President-elect Donald Trump's plans to deport undocumented immigrants. 85% of voters said they support the deportation of undocumented migrants with criminal records. That strong support cuts across party lines. More than half of voters would approve of deporting undocumented immigrants who don't have a criminal record, and 60% would approve of using the U.S. military for that purpose. That's despite a long-standing federal law barring the use of the military for domestic law enforcement. Despite facing challenges from Hurricanes Helene and Milton just weeks before the November election, the U.S. Postal Service delivered mail-in ballots faster in 2024 than in other years. Nearly 100% of completed mail-in ballots were delivered to elections officials within a week. Mail-in ballots accounted for nearly half of all ballots cast in this year's presidential election, but it did not exceed the record 136 million mail ballots during the 2020 general election. That's when, of course, the COVID-19 pandemic forced states to expand vote-by-mail options.
She was a World War II veteran, a civil rights leader, and a Raleigh native. And now a bipartisan bill is set for approval to honor Staff Sergeant Millie Dunn, VC. She served in the 688 Battalion, and you may have heard of them recently because their story soon will be told on Netflix. The all-black women's World War II unit developed a new mail tracking system. They cleared the 6-month backlog of mail in just 3 months. Congresswoman Deborah Ross proposed renaming a post office on Brentwood Road in Raleigh as a tribute to her legacy.
This legislation pays tribute to the life and legacy of Millie Dunn Vesey, a remarkable woman whose contributions profoundly shaped not only our local community, but our nation.
In 2018, Vesey passed away at the age of 100. She was buried with distinct honor at the Raleigh VA National Cemetery.
Jobless claims have hit a 6-week high. New figures released today by the Labor Department show 224,000 people applied for first-time unemployment benefits last week. That's 9,000 more than the week before. It's also much higher than the 214,000 filings economists were expecting. Despite the uptick in initial claims, people continuing to receive unemployment benefits dropped by 25,000. A separate report found job cuts rose slightly in November compared with October. Those layoffs were driven by planned cuts in the auto industry. Let's show you now how that's affecting the stock market right now. The Dow is under the 45,000 mark, retreating 108 points at this hour. S&P 500, not a whole lot of traction in the green, though, up about 3 points, and NASDAQ advancing 33 points at this hour.
Your time is 12:10. A Nobel Peace Prize winner and human rights activist will be released from jail, at least briefly. Next at noon, why Narges Mohammadi release comes at a tense time for Iranian law.
Plus, we've again crossed into sci-fi becomes real territory. We'll introduce you to the humanoid robot that could help you around the house.
Plus, a look at new data showing just how much learning loss has happened because of the COVID pandemic and the effort to address it.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.
President-elect Donald Trump's embattled pick for Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is back on Capitol Hill today. He's having more meetings with senators. Hegseth is trying to salvage his nomination. But as NBC's Peter Alexander reports, Trump insiders say he's already considering a replacement for Hegseth.
This morning, with his bid to become Defense Secretary in jeopardy, Pete Hegseth is vowing to fight on, returning to Capitol Hill today for another round of meetings with senators after launching a public campaign to salvage his faltering nomination and detailing his conversation with President-elect Trump.
Hey, Pete, I got your back. It's a fight. They're coming after you. Get after it.
Hegseth brushing off an allegation of sexual assault for which he was never charged and he says was consensual, and blaming Trump's political enemies for accusations of financial mismanagement and excessive drinking.
What you're seeing right now with me is the art of the smear.
Then pledging, if confirmed, he won't drink another sip.
This is the biggest deployment of my life, and there won't be a drop of alcohol on my lips while I'm doing it.
After revelations that Hegseth's mom, Penelope, sent him a scathing email in 2018 calling him an abuser of women before retracting her words and apologizing, Mrs. Hegseth went on Fox News to defend her son, calling him a changed man.
Pete is a new person. He's redeemed, forgiven, changed. I believe he's the man for the job.
Hegseth has also drawn scrutiny for his past comments that women should not serve in combat. Yesterday, the current Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin praising women in the military.
And everywhere that I've gone on the battlefield, I've seen women fighting for America. If I get a little fired up about this, it's just because this isn't 1950. It isn't 1948. It is 2024.
Two sources tell NBC News Trump is already considering alternatives to Hegseth, including Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, a Navy veteran, and Iowa Senator Joni Ernst, who served in the Army National Guard and met with Hegseth Wednesday.
It was a frank and thorough conversation.
Did he ask you for your vote specifically?
Thank you.
That was Peter Alexander reporting. Democrats have flipped California's 13th congressional district seat, and that gives Republicans a 5-seat majority. Republican House Representative John Duarte conceded to his Democratic challenger, Adam Gray. The 5 counties in the district certified their results, giving Gray the victory by just 187 votes. The contest was the last unresolved House race in the country.
Iran's most prominent human rights activist is getting a brief reprieve from Tehran's notorious prison to heal from surgery. Narges Mohammadi shouted "Woman, life, freedom" as she left the prison without a hijab. The 52-year-old had a piece of bone from her right leg removed due to cancer fears. Her temporary release comes just as Iran's parliament passed a bill that significantly tightens existing dress restrictions and imposes harsher punishments for violations. Mohammadi was sentenced to more than 30 years for activism. Marijuana use will soon be legal for NFL players. The league is relaxing its substance abuse policies. It includes raising the limit for THC concentration, which many players use for recovery. Fines for positive tests will also be reduced. Players will now pay $15,000 for the first fine instead of a half game's paycheck. The changes go into effect tomorrow.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Light the tower.
Hear Deborah's voice in that. Thank you to everyone who came out to help us ring in the holiday season with our annual WRAL tower lighting. Our team lit the towers last night at Durham's American Tobacco campus, Rocky Mount Mills, and right here in Raleigh at our studio on Western Boulevard. This is the 66th year of the annual tradition in Raleigh. The WRAL TV tower will remain lit through New Year's Eve.
On the WRAL Live Center, it felt like the holidays last night, right? But it's going to get extremely cold, as Amy is about to tell us. But take a look at what happened this morning in Westerville, Ohio. A water main break happened around 7 o'clock this morning, shooting water about 50 feet in the air. The street and everything the water touched turned to ice. While it might be nice to look at, workers immediately started trimming the trees at the site to reduce the risk of power line issues or other outages. Dozens of nearby stores had to be affected by this whole thing. Hopefully, nothing like this happens here when our temperature drops.
Truth. Although we're going to get freezing temperatures later tonight, below freezing, meteorologist Amy Wilmoth tracking the interesting conditions that we're having today. Windy conditions and then cold after that.
That's right. And it's just taking a while for the cold air to get here. The front has moved all the way through North Carolina. It's now moving offshore. So the Arctic front has moved through. Now we wait for the winds to shift directions out of the northwest. Right now we have a westerly flow. Once we turn to northwest, these are the numbers that are going to spill into North Carolina overnight tonight. We're still at 59 in Raleigh right now, but 22 in Chicago, 17 in Minneapolis. Definitely some Arctic air headed our way. Starting to get a little cooler in our northern counties, low 50s in Roxborough and South Hill, and it's 59 right now in Raleigh. So still mild for most of us, even low 60s from Southern Pines to Fayetteville to Clinton. So fairly mild despite the front already moving through, but it is very windy. This is the current wind gusts across the area, anywhere from about 21 miles per hour to 31 miles per hour in Raleigh-Durham, 32 mile per hour gusts in Rocky Mountain. It's going to stay blustery through the day today, and temperatures will start to drop fairly quickly, I think within the next hour or two. And I think by 3 p.m. we're in the mid 40s, and then by 6 p.m. we're in the mid to upper 30s, and temperatures will just continue to drop from there, and it will be a bitterly cold start to the day tomorrow. We're talking about teens and 20s tomorrow morning, 21 in Raleigh, 20 in Durham, 18 in Roxborough, maybe 20 in Siler City, and then down to the south, temperatures in the teens and 20s as well. 18 in Robbins, 22 in Smithfield, 22 in Clinton. So this is another surge of Arctic air, and it's only part of the story. It's still going to stay a little breezy tonight. So the wind chill by 6 p.m. already in the low 20s in Roxborough, upper 20s in Durham, Durham, and then we'll continue to see these numbers drop overnight tonight. This is what it will likely feel like as you step outside tomorrow morning. We could get down to single digits for the wind chill in some spots. 14 in Raleigh, 13 in Durham, 16 in Fayetteville. And in the afternoon Friday, it stays cold all day. It will likely stay like feeling in the 30s, even though we'll have high temperatures in the 40s. And then over the weekend, it's going to be a cold start to the day. Saturday stays chilly in the afternoon, 49 for the high Saturday. If you're not a fan of the cold weather, we'll still have cold weather Sunday morning, but in the afternoon, temperatures will feel nice, 60 for the high, with a little bit of cloud cover on Sunday. Once we get beyond Sunday, we'll start to see the southern jet stream impact our area. It's going to bring us some rain, about a 30% chance Monday and Tuesday. Tuesday night into Wednesday, I think, will be our best chance for rain. We haven't had rain in a week, so we're due for some rain. And this is a look at how much we could get next week, anywhere from an inch and a quarter to maybe an inch and a half across the area. So some decent rain. I think most of that, according to models right now, will come overnight Tuesday into early Wednesday, but we'll keep you posted on the timing. Definitely colder as we head into the weekend, but milder for the end of the weekend, and temperatures stay mild into next week. Highs in the 60s Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday as well.
Get ready for the weather whiplash. Amy, thank you. Coming up on WRAL News at 4 p.m., a new poll shows a majority of North Carolina voters support using the military on U.S. soil to deport undocumented immigrants. We'll take a closer look at the numbers and reveal what respondents said about Donald Trump's promise to use tariffs to try and help the American industry.
And tonight at 6 o'clock, is artificial intelligence used to make you pay more? WRAL investigates the federal investigation of major companies. Amazon faces a new lawsuit for intentionally slowing down deliveries in some low-income neighborhoods. Hear why the global e-commerce business says lawyers have it all wrong.
And we knew it was coming. Google says a new artificial intelligence model can predict faster, more accurate forecasts. How the development can be used to benefit humanity. More people are logging into their retirement funds and finding out they are now 401k millionaires. Fidelity Investments says the number of accounts with balances topping $1 million increased by 9.5% in the third quarter. It's not just because of market gains. There has also been a strong savings rate, which includes employee contributions and an employer match. Despite the rise in 401k millionaires, many people are far below that number. The average balance for all 401k accounts hit a record high in the third quarter at just over $132,000. Bitcoin has hit $100,000 for the first time ever. The token's latest surge came in the hours after President-elect Donald Trump picked Paul Atkins to chair the Securities and Exchange Commission. Atkins is an advocate of cryptocurrency. The price of Bitcoin has more than doubled year to date. Trump, once a crypto skeptic, launched his own cryptocurrency business called World Liberty Financial in September.
Amazon faces a lawsuit for allegedly providing slower deliveries to people in low-income areas. The lawsuit from the District of Columbia's Attorney General's office claims the company slowed down Prime deliveries to two predominantly black neighborhoods. They're accused of doing that while still charging members who lived there and didn't notify them. The Attorney General says the company has the right to make operational changes, but it can't make them in secret to its customers. Amazon says the change was made for driver safety, and the discrimination claims they're false. Google says its new AI weather model can deliver 15-day forecasts with unrivaled accuracy and speed. GenCast was invented by London-based AI research laboratory Google DeepMind. The model was trained on 4 decades of data from 1979 to 2018, and experts say that it can produce a 15-day forecast in just 8 minutes compared to the hours that it normally takes.
Research shows student performance still lags behind pre-pandemic levels, although there are signs of improvement. Coming up, the 2 particular areas of concern. And later, a mom and her 2 children were struggling after Helene badly damaged their Western North Carolina home. Find out what happened when the wife of a former NASCAR driver learned of their story.
Just in case you missed them, here's your NC Education lottery numbers. Good luck.
shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
North Carolina school leaders say 7th and 8th grade students specifically need some more attention in schools.
And those leaders are concerned about them falling behind in reading and math as well. WRAL's Noah Klein is here with us now. Noah, the Department of Public Instruction is looking at how students are recovering from learning loss during the pandemic.
Yeah, Chris, that new analysis, it shows 7th and 8th grade students scored worse on end of grade tests this spring than they did the year before. Earlier this fall, we learned that more students were actually passing their standardized tests and rebounding from COVID-19 to learning loss, especially those younger elementary students. But last year's 7th and 8th grade students, they actually did worse. That's something state and school district leaders say they're just going to have to investigate further. WRAL's Education Insider points out schools have now used up all of the temporary federal funding that helped them with learning recovery.
We know that a lot of tutoring programs or intervention programs have really been disrupted by the loss of temporary federal funds that helped pay for them. So schools are really trying to think really critically about, where they really need the most resources.
We should mention this is not just an issue here in North Carolina. Coming up on WRAL News at 4 o'clock, I'll compare our students' numbers to the rest of the country and explain where we stand and which subject is actually seeing the sharpest drop in scores.
And then, thank you. Today, families in Durham can learn more about plans to move thousands of students to different schools. The redistricting plan is part of Durham Public Schools' Growing Together initiative. The goal is to split the district into 5 regions to give equal opportunities to all students. Tonight's listening session is happening from 6 to 8 at People's Solidarity Hub on Chapel Hill Road.
Happening now in the WRAL Live Center, still no sign of the man suspected of shooting and killing United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. Just before we came on the air this noon hour, NYPD releasing these new images of the suspected shooter that were taken when this person stayed at a hostel. Now take a look at why police believe the shooting of Brian Thompson was a targeted attack. Police say the suspect was waiting for Thompson. Surveillance video captured the moment the mass shooter approached Thompson from behind and shot him with a handgun at least twice. NBC News now reporting the words defend, deny, and depose were written on some of the shell casings found at the scene yesterday. Police believe he escaped somewhere in Central Park and took a subway from the Upper West Side. Look for updates on this story online and in our news starting at 4 right here on WRAL.
Right now, investigators are working to learn what caused a fire that destroyed this home in Chatham County. Thankfully, no one was hurt. Crews responded to the home on Leicester Road just before 5 last night for what was reported as a home explosion. A family member tells WRAL a mother and daughter were home sleeping at the time. A neighbor came and told them to wake up. They were able to get out of the house unharmed. Another neighbor spoke with WRAL about how the community will help the family.
We definitely want to support them, and I know there will be posts that get started that we will rally as a community to come together and meet their needs.
The family is now getting help from other family members in the area.
Police are trying to find the person who shot a woman at a hotel in Raleigh. This happened just before 3 this morning at the Days Inn on South Wilmington Street. Nick Perlin was there on the WRAL Breaking News Tracker as officers searched for more evidence.
Raleigh police were investigating an early morning shooting at this Days Inn behind me right off of 70. They say a woman was hurt. Now take a look at this video from the WRAL Breaking News Tracker. This is from around 3 this morning, and you can see an ambulance there in the parking lot as well as Raleigh police cruisers. I can also tell you, Raleigh police were even looking at some of the hotel rooms here at the Days Inn, trying to get more information about what led to this shooting. Now, we do know one woman was shot and taken to the hospital. Raleigh police tell us she is expected to recover, but at this point in time, Raleigh police are still looking for the shooter. They say shortly after the shooting, that person left. So right now, that's what they're still trying to investigate, who the shooter is and where that person ran off to. Once we get more information, we'll be sure to let you know. In Raleigh, Nick Perlin, WRAL News.
Raleigh police say a person who was injured in a shooting at a North Raleigh apartment complex is expected to recover. This happened on Pinhook Lane in the Litchford 315 apartments area just before 7:30 last night. Investigators say they responded to a domestic situation and found a person who had been shot. Officers are saying now that they have detained another person.
Less than 24 hours ago, we flipped the switch on our 3 towers for Christmas, and that means it's also time to get ready for First Night Raleigh. WRAL was there as city crews loaded the acorn onto a vehicle in downtown Raleigh City Plaza. It will be taken to the home of the creator, David Benson. The 1,200-pound acorn will be polished ahead of this year's WRAL First Night Raleigh. If you don't want to go down to Fayetteville Street, you can ring in the new year right here on WRAL on New Year's Eve.
Today and tomorrow, the Wake County Sheriff's Office is raising money while also enjoying some Chick-fil-A. The Cops on Top fundraiser is happening from 6:30 to 2:30 at the Rand Village Chick-fil-A, so still some time that it's going on. That's on Fayetteville Road near Garner. And the Sheriff's Office is raising money for the Law Enforcement Torch Run for Special Olympics North Carolina. Local law enforcement will be throughout the store to collect donations.
The manager of the World Series champs, the LA Dodgers, gets an invite to Japan. We'll explain his special connection to Okinawa and what was waiting for him there.
And it is a Christmas wish come true. How a family in Western North Carolina now has a place to spend the holidays after Helene. Just a reminder, you can watch WRAL News live anytime on WRAL.com or the WRAL app on your streaming device.
Welcome back. You're looking live at downtown Cary Park, where they have the holiday decorations up. But it is a blustery afternoon today. You're watching WRAL News, available on YouTube TV and the WRAL app on your TV or streaming device.
A new AI humanoid robot designed to help with daily life enters the game, vying to be the first we welcome into our homes. Will you allow it, though? 1X, a company based in Norway and Silicon Valley, has joined the humanoid robot race. Neo, the company's piloted humanoid robot, is designed to help with chores around the house, and the market-ready version of the humanoid will utilize AI and remote controls.
We're really excited about the ability to teleoperate the robot yourself. So if you're somewhere else, you can actually teleport into your robot and do small things in your house that maybe you forgot to do, right? Like feed the cat or close the window, check that everything's okay.
Totally normal. Someone teleporting your house. Okay. Well, as for the price, the company says it will be similar to a mid-priced new car.
But if they're being helpful and watering your plants and doing your dishes,
being around your stuff.
Welcome them. A special honor for LA Dodgers manager Dave Roberts today from his hometown. So Roberts was born in Naha, Japan, to a Japanese mother and an American father. This year, he led the LA Dodgers, including players such as Shohei Ohtani and Freddie Freeman, to a World Series championship, the team's first title in 4 seasons.
The final piece for me was to come to Naha to be with my people and celebrate with you guys together. So now my journey for 2024 is finally complete. So thank you.
Naha City invited Roberts and his family back to his hometown to recognize his accomplishments. Naha is the capital city of Okinawa, and the island is considering awarding Roberts the Citizens Medal of Honor. A mother of 2 in Western North Carolina had nowhere to turn after Helene destroyed part of her home.
I had me and my 2 little boys who were looking up to me, and I didn't know what to do.
Family even had to live in their car for a time. Just ahead, how a nonprofit and the wife of a former NASCAR driver are helping them now.
Also ahead, how a Hollywood studio is saying happy birthday to Batman tomorrow.
All right, so surveillance pricing sounds very sci-fi, right? But it's something very real that federal investigators are looking into. In fact, the FTC is investigating several companies to see if they are using your data against you. These companies include MasterCard, JP Chase, and Task. That last one you may not know, but it does work with McDonald's and other businesses. The FTC wants to know if companies are using your data to charge you more based on who you are and even where you are.
We really don't want people to be charged based on, for instance, their race or their gender. We don't want low-income people having to be charged more since they may have fewer options for purchasing in stores.
Yeah, this goes a little deeper. So tonight at 6, WRAL Investigates talks with that FTC expert there, Stephanie Nguyen, an AI expert, and I'm going to show you the technology that could be costing you more.
Some families in Western North Carolina who lost everything in Hurricane Helene question where they will spend Christmas. Chelsea Torres explains how some families are getting a place to call home ahead of the holidays.
Helene destroyed part of Lindsay Miller's home.
I had me and my 2 little boys who are looking up to me, and I didn't know what to do.
The Miller family stayed in their car and with friends while trying to figure out their next move.
We'll just stay wherever we can. I have a couple friends, and then we stayed in a hotel room and just bounced. And then sometimes we'll go and stay in the house because I didn't have anywhere.
Miller's home has no power or heat. And through a friend, she heard about the nonprofit Emergency RV. The group works with donors to get new campers for victims of Helene. So Miller applied, hoping she'd spend Christmas with her own roof over her head.
That we are able to provide not only homes, but I feel like we're able to provide a lot of hope. I don't feel like hope is something that a lot of people have right now.
Emergency RV posted Miller's story on social media, and Heather Gibbs, wife of former NASCAR driver Coy Gibbs, felt she had to help.
I'm going to make it as easy as I can for her and everything that she's gone through, everything her kids have gone through, and I want them to know that people haven't forgot.
Miller says she's amazed at the generosity.
We don't have to have a cold Christmas, I didn't know where we was going to spend our Christmas. This has really, really been a big impact on my family.
That was Chelsea Torres reporting. Emergency RV says they have over 700 people just here in Western North Carolina on their wait list. The nonprofit is looking for donations and volunteers to help deliver these RVs to people in need. So delivering hope and maybe another way to help folks in Western North Carolina, especially during the holiday season.
Well, they need that. And I know there's been some tiny homes built out there, and it's cold right now there, right? And it's winter time, just about. And we've got Amy Wilmoth in the WRAL Severe Weather Center tracking that Arctic air. They're feeling it out there in the mountains too.
Absolutely. It's already getting cold in the mountains, and we're just kind of waiting here for the cold air to get here. It is coming, and it will get here in the next several hours. Look at how cold it is behind the Arctic front that's already made its way all the way through North Carolina. We're still at 59 right now in Raleigh, but it's 22 in Chicago, 17 in Minneapolis. And check out Boone right now, 36 degrees is the current temperature, and temperatures will continue to fall through the day today. This is the cold air that will spill into our area overnight tonight. It's also been very windy today. We right now have gusts over 30 miles per hour at RDU, 40 mile per hour gusts in Wilmington, 38 mile per hour gusts in Boone. Very strong gusty winds that will continue through the day today. And notice how the temperatures drop. If you're going to be out and about running some errands, I know it's still mild outside right now, but that will not be the case this afternoon. When the kids come home from school, will likely be in the mid 40s. And then later this evening by 6 p.m., temperatures will be in the upper 30s, and we'll continue to watch those temperatures drop overnight tonight. The Christmas parade tonight in Franklinton, nice holiday decorations there. It is going to be cold. If you are headed to that Christmas parade, get started at 7 o'clock, 31 degrees, upper 20s at 8 and 9 o'clock, so bundle up. Clayton's also doing their Christmas tree lighting, so bundle up for that as well. Look at the hour-by-hour wind chill. It is going to be brutal overnight tonight into tomorrow morning. morning. Already by 7 p.m., wind chill index values in the upper 20s, and we will be in the teens just after midnight and continuing into the morning. So we'll have to really bundle up the kids for the bus ride. You don't want to be standing at the bus stop and not be bundled up tomorrow morning. 23 for the low, and that will feel like the teens, and then 43 for the high. So it stays cold through the day tomorrow, and with a breezy wind out of the north, it will feel like 30s for most of the day. So very cold start to the weekend. Friday evening planner, maybe you're headed to a holiday party. Make sure you bundle up. Temperatures will be in the low 30s to upper 20s. It'll be very cold again tomorrow night. Saturday morning, we're waking up to temperatures in the low 20s. At lunchtime, we're in the low 40s, and high temperatures will stay in the upper 40s on Saturday. Saturday, Apex has their Christmas parade, and it will be cold for that. Temperatures will be in the low 40s for the start of the parade, down into the upper 30s by 7 p.m. Last year, they had to deal with rain. At least this year, it's dry, and it will certainly feel festive. Once we get past the weekend, that's when our rain chances start to go up. Monday, I think it's just some light rain Monday. I don't think it's a huge deal. It'll be a little bit gloomy with temperatures back in the low 60s for highs. Tuesday morning, we'll have a few spotty showers, but I think our best chance is going to come Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. So we do have some rain on the way for next week, and that comes with mild temperatures. Certainly not mild over the next couple of days, but we do see those temperatures going back into the 60s by Sunday.
Amy, thanks. An unusual sale is honoring 85 years since the debut of the Caped Crusader.
Just ahead, find out what's on the block at the big Batman charity auction. Fans of The Dark Knight, oh, you're going to love that.
First, here's a look at your winning Powerball numbers.
As we wrap up things today, here's a look at a few of the headlines we're following on WRAL. New photos have been released showing the suspected gunman wanted in the shooting of the United Healthcare CEO. NYPD shared pictures today showing the suspect's full face. You see it right here. In previously shared images, he was wearing a mask. Investigators say Chris Thompson was targeted. Also new today, NBC News learned the words defend, deny, and depose were written on the shell casings found at the scene.
A major expansion in Holly Springs by biotech company Amgen will create 370 jobs. It's a $1 billion investment. Amgen says the jobs should come between 2028 and 2032 with average pay of more than $91,000. The company develops medicine to treat cancer and heart disease. The plans announced this morning come as state officials approved a jobs grant worth up to $6.5 million.
Tonight, families in Durham can learn more about plans to move thousands of students to different schools. The redistricting plan is part of Durham Public Schools' Growing Together initiative. The goal is to split the district into 5 regions to give equal opportunities to all students. Tonight's listening session, it's happening from 6 to 8 at People's Solidarity Hub on Chapel Hill Road.
There's no shortage of places to embrace the spirit of the holiday season. Lightscape returns to Chicago Botanical Gardens on the city's north side. This is the 6th year, and each year organizers change up the trail. Visitors can enjoy the amazing display of lights and music as they navigate this 1.3-mile walk. The holiday display features 18 interactive light displays created by 500,000 lights. The event runs through January 5th.
Tomorrow, Warner Brothers will hold a special charity auction to celebrate 85 years of an iconic superhero. Batman debuted in 1939 in Detective Comics. Since then, there have been countless movies and cartoons featuring the Caped Crusader. This auction focuses on Batman in the movies and includes some pretty rare items such as the stunt bat suit from The Flash. And the auction benefits You Gotta Believe. It's a group that finds permanent families for young adults, teens, and preteens in foster care. And if you didn't know, it's a little fitting because Bruce Wayne, aka Batman, was an orphan.
If you're looking for a kitten with personality, our pet of the day from the SPCA of Wake County is your girl. Jolie is a 5-month-old spayed female short-hair kitten. If you're looking for a little background entertainment while you work from home, well, she will be a delightful companion for you. Jolie is the type of kitten whose silly antics will make you a viral cat content creator. For more information, please visit spcawake.org. She's so Instagram worthy. Yeah. Look at those eyes.
She's leaning like, what y'all want? Adopt that cat. Coming up on WRAL News at 4 p.m., who is in the running to become the permanent UNC football coach following the firing of Mack Brown? We'll have a close look at the prospects for that very looked-after position.
We appreciate you spending your lunch hour with us. NBC News Daily is next on WRAL, and your next local news update in 30 minutes.
You can get breaking news updates anytime with our WRAL News app. We'll see you again at 4 o'clock.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.